Welcome back to the channel. I'm here with Seaside Development, and today I'm going to walk you through how we turned this X parking lot into a 15-unit, $7 million multifamily property.
Place look like when you first started?
Well, so there's a quad in the front that we bought, which was nice. So while we went through permits and construction, we had some cash flow coming in. So our burn was only a few grand a month through the holding. Once we got permits, demo the parking lot, and in 8 months, we got this thing built. So basically the way it works is acquisition, right? So do your numbers, do your construction takeoff, does it pencil, and then you obviously get your construction debt. So for this project, we actually only had to throw like $400K in on like a $7 million project, which is pretty high leverage. The way we did that was we did a seller carry as a second. So we had to come up with minimal cash. We financed all of the construction, which, we've done a handful of projects. So we have the track record for the lenders to let us do that. We baked in interest reserves, so we don't have any mortgage payments. Along the way, we essentially finance those. Once you get the debt, then you just go through permitting, and permitting is pretty straightforward. So design the building, do all the engineering, all that jazz, Title 24, make sure it's green, submit it to the city. That can take 4 months to 2 years, depending on how good your team is. We're doing it in about 6 months these days, but this one took about a year just because it was our first, what's called R2 construction. So we had to do a lot of fire rated stuff like sprinklers and things like that. So it took a little bit longer. And then when it comes to actual building, it's pretty straightforward, right? So you do your underground utilities, plumbing, sewer, all that jazz. Dig your footings, pour your footing, frame, put on the exterior, roofing, windows, railing, stucco, all of this jazz you see. And then you get on the inside, which is finished electrical, finished plumbing, cabinets, finished work, drywall, painting. All of this that you see, like cosmetically, goes very fast. Like it's the last 2 months, you're like, oh my gosh. But the first 4 months when it's just like that foundation and the framing, it feels like it's moving very slow. And then all of a sudden it's like your project's done and you're rushing to put in blinds and get it rented.
So let's talk about the subcontractors, because I feel like that's a super important part of getting something built on time and on budget. So
yeah.
Through maybe like the relationships there, the challenges, how do you trust these guys? How do you know how to hire them? I feel like that's important.
I mean, I always kind of refer to like who, not how. So for me, like I have a background in construction, but I'm not a construction expert by any means, but I think I've done a good job hiring the right people. I have a few superintendents that have been building of my own age. So I think that helps when it comes to just having a seasoned team. And when it comes to subcontractors, most of our subs have been building for my superintendents for a decade plus. So we have trustworthy subs. We do bid all of our projects out. So we'll do 2 or 3 bids. When it comes to getting projects done is we put incentives in all of our contracts. I think that's like a big tip a lot of people don't use. So if our contractors get done early, we give them incentives. So sometimes $300, $500 a day. It depends what sub it is. And then if they go beyond that, then they're in the penalty box. And so they might not actually even make money on this job if they take too long. And so we build pretty quick because no one wants to lose money. So yeah. You got to incentivize. If you don't incentivize, then yeah.
Why don't we walk through one of the units?
Yeah.
How do you guys know how to like make it this big? Like how do you decide?
So there's a few things, right? You have your lot size. So this is I think 8,000 square foot lot. Based on that, it gives you your floor area ratio. So essentially says, hey, you can build X amount of square footage in this area. And so we basically max that out with what's called market rate units. So there's no cap on rents. And then because the city is so desperate for housing, they have a thing called the bonus ADU program. So essentially, you build an affordable ADU, you get a market rate ADU. So we did that with 6 of these units. And so we were able to basically max this out to within 10 square feet of what the city would allow. The layout of these units, it's 2 bedroom units on the ends, 1 bedroom's in the middle. So it's basically a flip-flop set. And we're still, we're 2 weeks away from finishing, so We got blinds and a few other things going in, but 2-bedroom unit. We rinse and repeat. So we use the same Bliss flooring. We use the same cabinet company, very similar layouts. Sometimes we'll do islands in our micro units. All the times we'll actually do the moving islands. Tenants really like those just because they can kind of finesse when it comes to a smaller space. This is about 650 square feet, which I feel like it feels pretty big for that. So both flip-flop duplicate bedrooms, and then we don't have power on yet, but I mean, our bathrooms are pretty solid. We like to spend money on the finishes. It makes a big difference. So we put in the, girls love those mirrors. We'll do usually some sort of modern tile. And I see so many projects with like the most basic shaker cabinets and just like, you know, Home Depot or Lowe's grade stuff. And it's like, it's really not much more. And look how much better this unit looks. A few things too is we always put washer and dryers in all of our units. We have to. People do a lot of laundry. And no one wants to share laundry, so.
How much is this rent for?
Rent-wise, this is San Diego, and rent is not cheap. And we are, I don't know if you can see from the window, but we're within a mile of USD. So we get mostly college tenants. So right now we have a quadruplex in the front. So that's how we originally bought this. And we're getting $3,800 for a tiny 3-bedroom, 2-bath units. For these, we'll probably get in the mid threes, probably $3,500 for these 2-bedroom units. They'll have parking, washer and dryers. So $3,500, and or for the 1-bedrooms, probably $2,500, I'm guessing. So we'll check out the 1-bedroom. Right. Couch, TV. We'll actually put a little, a narrow movable island right here. Those are all in the storage unit down below. It's all cookie cutter. There's always gonna be hiccups, right? Like it's just, City of San Diego, our inspectors have their code and requirements they gotta follow, and you know, not every contractor is gonna build that perfectly. So there's always gonna be little hiccups, but nothing that's gonna stop a project from being successful. I think the biggest warning in this was this project took a while, right? We purchased the front, rehabbed it, and then it took us a little while to figure out what we want to build in the back. So there was a pretty long holding period on this project, and I actually swapped partners on this. So the way this one was broken down was there's 2 other partners. And this again goes into like, don't just get into business with someone. They're good friends, very trustworthy, and it worked out well because one of them went through some like family stuff and had to get out. The other one was in like a different cash situation, so they needed their capital. And so I actually brought in 2 new partners to completely replace them. I think the biggest takeaway is when it comes to partnerships, like development can be pretty hairy. There's a lot of like ups and downs. Do your due diligence, you know, make sure you have 1, 2, and 3 options, right? Whether that's, you know, build to sell right away, or build, hey, maybe we have to bring a little bit of cash in if we really want to keep it, right? Like what's the game plan? And if something goes awry, someone needs to get out of the project, right? Like what happens then? And these are all questions you want to take care of far in advance, because things do happen. You don't think they are, but they do happen. Well, I would say just be crystal clear with your partnership, the goals of the project. When you do run into issues, it makes everything much more clear when you have everything laid out. I've only been doing this for a few years, right? I do have a background kind of building houses, but when it comes to actual development, anyone can really do this. I was in software sales. I honestly quit software sales like a year ago. I was actually doing real estate and tech together for many years. And it's really not rocket science. It's, at the end of the day, it's figuring out how to underwrite a deal, how to get the capital for the deal, whether it's yourself, you're gonna go raise a deal, partnering with someone that knows more than you. Anyone can do this, right? Put together your business plan. If you have questions, you don't know things, find people that do, whether you pay them or not. Dude, you can build this. It's like, I'll probably do 100 units this year. I built 20 units last year. And for me, like, it takes as much work to build a duplex as it did to build 15 units here. And so my next project's a 25 unit, and then I've got a 40 unit that's going to permitting now, and I don't expect it to take any more work than this.